an introduction to EndNote. Now, I was telling Sarah just at the beginning, this is actually my first time presenting about EndNote, because EndNote is a very recent addition to the suite of tools that the library provides to you, our students and faculty. We've been waiting a long time. Well, I personally have been waiting a long time for it, because ever since I joined the university some number of years ago, one very common question is, do you have EndNote? Can the library provide access to EndNote? And in the past, we always had to say, oh, it's a little bit too expensive. But we have heard your feedback and we found the money. So starting from this year, we do have an institutional subscription to EndNote, which I'm very excited about. So the first thing you need to know, if you haven't done it already, is about installing EndNote. So EndNote at HKBU Library. As mentioned, we do have a site license now. So as long as you maintain a status as a current HKBU student or staff member, you can download EndNote to your personal computer and install it there. So I'm not going to go through that process. You've installed software before, right? It's pretty straightforward. So you go to the EndNote page on the library website. There are the download links for Windows version, Mac version. Just download and install. We've had a few inquiries from people having trouble with the installation process. Just contact the library if you have any difficulty installing it onto your machine, and we can help you out with that. Okay, so that's installing. By the way, just in case you're curious, how much does it cost as an individual to subscribe to EndNote? It costs 1,000 Hong Kong dollars to get a personal copy. So this is really good value just by downloading it from the library. So once you've set up your software, one thing I actually recommend that you do is set up an account. Now, it says here in the presentation, you can use EndNote without an account. You can just install it onto your machine and start using it. And that's something that I'll come back to later, is that EndNote is very kind of computer focused, unlike some other reference managers, which are more cloud focused. Now, it does have a cloud component, but the origins of EndNote are such that there's much more of a focus on the desktop app. Because EndNote has a very long history. It's very, not old software, but its legacy goes back a long way. So it is more desktop focused. Having said that, I do recommend you sign up for a free account because this will allow you to sync your library and back things up to the cloud. And I'll show you this more in a live demo later. This is just EndNote preferences. And in the menu, there's a sync option, and you can enable sync and set up an account. This account, by the way, this free account, separate from your HKBU account. So I do recommend you use your HKBU email address, but you do need to set up this account separately. And once you sync, you can keep track of your sync status. Again, I'll do this in a live demo. It'll make a bit more sense. But I did want to point out this through this screenshot, that through the library's subscription, you have pretty generous allowances. So you can have up to, I think that's how many zeros there, 1 million references in your EndNote library. I challenge you to ever save 1 million references. You can see here 5,000 groups. I've only set up 2 so far, 5,000 group sets. And you can see that the attachment storage is completely unlimited. So you can upload as many PDFs, etc., as you need to your library. Now, I realize I've kind of dived right in there because I assume that having signed up for this event, you are familiar with what EndNote is and what it intends to do, which is to manage your references, manage your citations, and look at your bibliographies and citations, right? So after installing it, we're going to look at how you can create your libraries in EndNote, build your libraries in EndNote, and also use EndNote with Microsoft Word to cite while you write. I see a question in the chat. It shouldn't require you to input a product key, a cube, just to check with you. Did you download it from this page? Because these links we have here are to files. Okay, that's fine. For individual issues like this, this is not the best place to deal with it. So contact us directly, and we'll try and sort out whatever issue is that you're having there directly, because it might be something to do with your PC. So sorry for kind of blowing you off a little bit, but afterwards we'll definitely sort it out for you. Most of the time, I mean, I've downloaded it for Mac, and generally it's been fine. So sorry that you've had that problem with it. We'll definitely sort it out for you. So creating your library. Now, the way that EndNote software uses library, the word library is a bit odd. It's when you install EndNote, you can create a new library. And this is essentially a file containing data about all of the references that you save to your computer. They refer to this as a library. You can have more than one library, but if you sync multiple libraries to your online account, all of the references get merged into one. And actually, there's no need to create more than one library, because within your library, you can have different groups. And again, I'll show this to you live. It makes more sense with the live demo. And any files that you attach to your references, like PDFs, etc., they'll be stored in separate folders, again, within your documents. Now, this is an extremely important note. Please remember this. When you create that library and save it, don't save it to a cloud drive like Google Drive or Dropbox or OneDrive. It will get corrupted over time. Again, EndNote is very focused on the app and installing locally on your computer. So when you set up your EndNote library, save it to your local hard drive and back it up by syncing it to your online account. So again, don't install on cloud storage. These screenshots are mainly for backup, really, in case my computer dies, because I really want to show you this stuff live. So let's have a look at some of those points here. So I'm going to share my whole screen. Apologies if this is a little small, but here is EndNote itself. I have to share the whole screen because EndNote has lots of pop-up windows that will not display on Zoom if I focus in on the EndNote app. So here I've already created my EndNote library, but what you would need to do as a first setup is sort of say here, File, New, and then this is where you can create your EndNote library. And you can call it whatever you want, but my EndNote library is totally fine. But again, sorry for repeating it so many times because it is so important. So when you save this library, make sure you're saving it to your hard drive. So not on an iCloud drive, not on a Google Drive, but directly onto your computer. I'm going to cancel out of that because I already have my library set up. Now, in a minute, I'm going to show you how to import or collect references and how to attach PDFs and all of those sorts of things. But just wanted to show you what it looks like. So I've been hard at work creating a little bibliography of journal articles related to library and information science in Hong Kong. So you can see I've got 63 references. And for each one, just to give you a tour of the interface, there's my list of references, and I double click there and it opens up the PDF that I have attached to it. So there are essentially three parts to the interface. There's this side here where you can organize your library on a larger scale. You can have different groups and things like that. There's the middle part where you can see the list of references that form that group. And then you have the right-hand side. That's where you have details about a particular reference, and there's a summary of it. You can change the details. You can close that as well. Speaking of grouping, I mentioned that really you only need to have one library in EndNote I mean, you can have more than one, but then you'll have those syncing issues. And the reason why you can just have one library, you can see here on this side, you have all of these different, well, I only have two, but you can have as many different groups as you want. You'll remember from the screenshot I showed you earlier, you can have up to 5,000 groups in your account. And again, I challenge you to ever have 5,000 meaningful groups. So I've organized, well, I only have one project at the moment because I'm also new to EndNote. It's just my HKLIS bibliography. But you can create more groups here. So that's just a right click. And then you can create a group and just name it and move things here. But one thing I wanted to highlight, one really neat thing, which I just discovered a few days ago, is you can create a smart group. And at first I thought, what is a smart group? So you can click here and you can see here you can have a new name, of course. I'm just going to call it Demo Smart Group or whatever. But then you can basically tell EndNote, give it some parameters, like you can see there's just so many. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it's a simple one. Say I wanted to create a group with all of the authors who are named Chan for whatever reason. So create a group where the author contains Chan and create, and now you can see it's created a new smart group with references that meet that criteria. So imagine if you've saved, over the course of your research, maybe you save hundreds of articles and you quickly want to create a group that's, for example, let's do a new smart group that, you can see there are so many here that has a keyword, that matches a particular topic. So you can very quickly isolate a group of references within that group. Now notice when I'm going to delete that group because it was just done for demonstration purposes, but the references inside are not deleted. So you're just deleting the group. So you're just deleting the organizing part of that. So all of those references are still here. And you can see here, this is the master list of all of my references. So no references were deleted at that point. Okay. So that's your first introduction to the EndNote interface. I want to quickly pop back to my presentation because now we're going to look more at building your EndNote library. So by building your library, I mean collecting references, putting the details into your EndNote library, and also attaching the PDF as well, because that's obviously very important to make sure you have easy access to the full text of whatever it is you're researching. Now, EndNote is interesting in that it is possible to directly search databases from EndNote using something they call connector files. And connectors for some popular databases are pre-installed. And let me just switch to the screenshot to just show you what I'm talking about. So you may have noticed there's online search here. And some popular ones are pre-installed, like the Library of Congress, which is the National Library of the United States, essentially. PubMed, which if for scientists there, I'm sure you're familiar with the PubMed database. And also Web of Science Core Collection is one that I think is pre-installed. But it's very easy to install because Web of Science is produced by the same company as EndNote. So they really want to tightly integrate that stuff. So you can actually do keyword searches in these databases directly from within EndNote without going to those databases and save things directly. Now that sounds convenient at first glance, but as a librarian, I personally don't recommend using that because you can only do a very simple search, right? You can tell from the search interface here, you can do title, keyword searches, etc. And it just gives you a long list of references that match the search. You can't sort them by relevance or by date or citation or anything like that. So these simple searches, I think, are okay in a certain respect, but you lose a lot of those specialized functions of the database. I would always recommend to search the databases directly. But the function is there, so I thought I'd just point it out to you. It's also a hard sell because a lot of our databases are subscription databases and there are authentication issues. So often, even if we subscribe to the database, the connection file will not work. So my recommendation is to do your searches in the databases themselves and bring them in to EndNote, which is very easy to do, as I'm about to show you. So first thing I wanted to show you is how you can do this from OneSearch. And I'll do live demos later. But here you can see there is a, we just switched this on a couple of months ago when we got EndNote. So if you find something useful in OneSearch, you can send to EndNote, and you'll be able to directly put it into your EndNote library. All you got to do is log in to your account. And this is another good reason to have an EndNote, a free EndNote account, because it will ask you to log in. And after you log in, your reference will appear in your library. Now, before I do the live demos, I just want to preview the other methods. So from other databases, now there are many, many databases that the library has, and each one may be slightly different. Some may be able to do the direct export, just like OneSearch, but for some other databases, they need you to download a file. So ProQuest, for example, allows you to export to a citation manager via a file download. It's usually got the extension RIS, so an RIS file will work with EndNote and also some other citation managers like Citavi, etc. So I'll show you that as well. In many ways, that's actually quite a good way to do it, because you simply need to double click on the file. As long as you've associated the file with the EndNote software, just double click the RIS file and it will automatically appear in your EndNote library. And I'll demonstrate that in a second too. And if all else fails, you can manually add things to EndNote. And you might need to do that for things that you don't find in a database. Like, for example, you might need to cite a YouTube video or something like that. And you can manually add references to your EndNote library as well. These screenshots are just backups. I'll show you the live demo in just a second. Same thing for attaching PDF files. It's very straightforward. I'll show you soon. But last but not least is, once you have the PDF file in your EndNote software, you can do some pretty basic, but again, more or less what you need to do, highlighting, adding comments to the PDF file. That's all available within EndNote. So screenshots are boring. I want to show it to you in my live demo now. So I'm going to switch back to sharing my entire desktop. There it is. So we'll go back. Oh, I need the link. Oh no, I think I have it here. So here is the article in OneSearch. And as I showed you in the screenshot, there is a send to EndNote function in this set of options here. So you can send to many things, including Mendeley. Let me just do a citation here. But if you click on EndNote, it will open up a new tab. Now this is a little bit, I have to be honest, it is a little bit confusing. We're transitioning our authentication system at the library. So it will give you this screen that says, oh, there are multiple authentication options available at your current location. I've tested and both of them work. I would say if you're on campus, the IP authentication is probably more straightforward. If you're off campus, then the institutional authentication would be more reliable. So I'm gonna, since I am on campus, I'm going to use IP authentication. Yeah, this is just a transitional thing. Sometime early next year, this screen should not appear because we will have fully migrated over to our new authentication system. So once you make your selection there, you'll get a login screen. So if you already have your EndNote account set up, you just need to sign in there. But if you're not yet registered, there's a registration button there, and it's a very simple form that you can fill out. So I'm going to sign in with my pre-saved credentials. This is the part where it takes a long time. So there you go. It says Primo import results. Number of records imported, 1. Primo is the official name of OneSearch. So that's completely normal. That's to be expected. And you see number of records imported, 1. Now, if I switch back over to EndNote, you will see, where is it? I go to recently added, there's 0. Remember, EndNote is more focused on the desktop product. So if you have added something via this direct import, you need to sync, right? You need to synchronize with your online account. So it's been imported to my online EndNote account, but it will not appear in EndNote desktop until I do the synchronization. So sync is right up in the top left corner. You can see my account name, which is my email address. And you can go to sync status and click on sync now. And it will do all the retrieval, account information, authentication, and it will pull in the new reference. So you can see there, now it has synchronized, and under recently added, there is that article, household food insecurity. So while we're here, it'll be a good time to add the PDF, which I downloaded earlier. So here in my demo docs, you can see the Bethencourt article. I wish you could just drag it in, but as far as I can tell, you cannot. So what you do need to do, double click on it, on the reference. Sorry, that's hard to see, but I double clicked on it. And then go to PDF and then attach PDF. So it's this article here, open, and then the PDF article will appear. And when, again, always be, I'm kind of very, what's the word, nervous. So I'm always clicking sync and always clicking save, so always be saving. And when you sync, that PDF will also be uploaded to the cloud. You don't have to do it as often as I do. I just get very, very nervous about backing up my information. It's actually fairly reliable. So the next demonstration I wanted to do is with ProQuest. So I have the link. Sorry, I have to go back. So this will quickly take me to the ProQuest article record. I just want to show you, I've actually already downloaded the file, but I just want to show you where it is again, just to remind you what the screenshot said. So it's up here under all options. So all save options up here. There are many options, but the one we're looking for is citation export. So again, RIS, that's the file extension or the file format that you're looking for. Just click there and it will download the file once you click on continue. One thing I want to point out too is most of these databases allow you to save a list of files. I'm just exporting one for demonstration purposes, but often, in ProQuest, you can have a folder and you can fill it up with lots of different articles that you're working on. So for example, I can add it to my selected items and then it's added to the folder. There it is. And then you can export those all at once. Say you have 20 here, you can download all of them as a single RIS file, and that'll be a little bit more efficient. So once you've downloaded the file, hopefully you can see this. Let me close ProQuest for now. So I go back to my download file. So it's very small. Hopefully you can see. So I downloaded this RIS file, and you just need to make sure that it is associated with EndNote. And really, it should do that automatically. But, well, gosh, it's very, very small. I hope you can see it. You can kind of see the EndNote icon there. And that means that RIS files have been associated with EndNote. And so when that association is in place, you just double click the file and you can see it's just been imported, just like that. And the file is now in my imported references area of EndNote. And similarly, now that it's in my library, I can go ahead and attach the PDF. So that, again, is just demonstrating how quick and straightforward it can be to import references into your EndNote library and then attach the PDFs. I want to pause and check chat to see if there are any questions. Yeah, citing YouTube or films. Well, for that, it's a great question. Thank you, Tong Chen. Generally speaking, you will have to do that manually. You're not going to be able to as far as I'm aware, there's no way to directly export, say, from YouTube. But they do give you quite a lot of options. So sorry, I'm going too fast again. So under references, you can open the new reference interface. And then there are lots of options. Do they have an online video? They have web page, online database, television episode, gosh, aggregated database, electronic book section. And if what you're looking for is really not there, they do have a generic reference. Probably for YouTube, I would call it a web page maybe, and you would put the author, year, title information there. You don't have to fill all of these in. You can leave some of them blank, put in the access year, access date if it's required by your citation style. And remember, every citation style will have a different different requirements or different way to cite YouTube videos. But I would count that as more of, yeah, it can't be saved if it's empty. I would count that as more of an advanced technique or advanced tool. So if you do run into issues with that, do let me know directly and we can try and give you some better advice. Are there any other questions at this point? If not, let me briefly look at those markup tools. So I think I did one of them earlier in my, yep, always remember to save your record. Actually, it always reminds you to do that. So in my existing bibliography here, I made sure I marked up one of my articles. So as you can see, you can highlight things and the tools are located here. Sorry, it's probably very small and hard for you to see, but there's a little kind of a speech bubble. They call it the annotation toolbar. And you can do sticky notes, highlights. So you can see there I've highlighted some more text. You can underline. You can strike through. I guess if you really disagree with what an author says, you can say, nope, cross that out. And some very simple color options. So again, nothing amazing here, but it does open up the possibility of when you're doing your research, as you're reading through articles, of making notes and things directly onto the PDF rather than printing things out or having separate Word documents and things like that. Okay. So again, just going through the basics here. And at this point, actually, is my random point where I will stop and ask my polling question. And we're going to end the poll. Thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. 81% of you got that one correct. Yeah, just reinforce. It's probably the most important point. Don't create your library on a cloud drive. Yeah, no. Bad idea. This second, quite a few, well, four people said use an HKBU Library computer to set your library. That's a very bad idea because HKBU Library public PCs, they erase their hard disk every time they restart. So definitely do not set up your EndNote library there. And in fact, we do not have EndNote installed on the library public PCs because really EndNote is designed to be installed on your personal computer and for you to use it from your personal computer. Okay. Let me go back to, I think I want to share my presentation now because, oh, how's my time? We've got about 15 minutes left. That's perfect. That's perfect because the last topic is cite while you write. So organizing your EndNote library. I mean, it's useful to have everything nice and organized, have all your annotations, but it is extra work. But your work in doing that will really pay off once you come to actually writing your paper, because one of EndNote's big features is an integration with Microsoft Word, which allows you to cite while you write. So when you install EndNote, it should prompt you, or it might automatically do it. I can't remember. I installed EndNote 2 months ago, but it will give you an opportunity to install an add-in to Microsoft Word. And I'll show it to you in the live demo in a second. It'll be on your ribbon. There'll be EndNote 20. And from this ribbon, you can insert citations, change the citation style that you're using, et cetera, et cetera. And also, it will allow you to edit individual citations. And often, again, depending on the style you're using, you might want to do that to add page numbers, page references, et cetera. Now, this demo will be pretty basic. I'm still exploring some of the more advanced features, and it looks like there are quite a lot of advanced features that could be useful. But let me give you a live demonstration here of the basics of cite while you write. And I think for this one, I should be able to just focus in on Microsoft Word. You should still be able to see everything. Let's try that. If there is any pop-up windows, I apologize in advance. So here is my propaganda document talking about how wonderful librarians are. But the main point is the EndNote add-in. So you can see here, this is your standard options in Microsoft Word Home and Search All, but you can see this new one here, which has been installed, which is EndNote 20. And it gives you these various options. Again, I'm not going to show you how to use, and again, I'm still exploring them myself. But the key one is, of course, insert citation. So I'm going to be using APA 7 style. Oh, and by the way, before I go any further, you can see here the citation style options. So pre-installed APA 7, Chicago 17. I think I added MLA 8 myself. And if you don't see the style that you want in this list, oh, there is a pop-up, sorry. If you can't see the pop-up, I apologize, but it's a list of 500 styles that are available to use. So any of the major styles you'll be able to find there and set them up. So make sure you've got the style correctly done. And then you can go into your document, say I've made a statement here. I need to add my citation, right? So in APA 7, in-text citations usually go before the period. So insert citation. Oh, there are lots of pop-ups. You know what? I'm going to stop and share my desktop again. Sorry, I wanted to give you a better view, but I want to make sure you can see these pop-ups as well. So let me share my whole desktop again. So now you should be able to see the pop-up. So a pop-up will come up, and this allows you to find your citation. So you can search by title, you can search by author surname. So I'm going to do, oh no, Wong is fine. So all of these Wongs you can see here. I'm going to add, let's do this one here and insert. And so you can see the proper parenthetical citation has been inserted, and the bibliography entry has also been added as well. Let's do another one. I want to show you one that has multiple authors. Let's see if I can find one. Let me search some common surnames. Let's do Chan again. Most of these seem to be single authors. Oh, this one should have multiple authors. Yeah. So let's go ahead and insert. And you can see for multiple authors, it knows, and it uses the proper APA style et al. Notation there. As you can see, it's building up the bibliography automatically as well, which, as you can tell, this is a huge time saver. It knows all the formatting. You can see it's done a hanging indent, which is required in APA 7. So that's really handy. I'm going to do one more citation. I want to do some, let's do the one I just added. No, yeah. So it will look at the author, and you can see it knows it's a B. So it does put it in correct order in the bibliography as well. So alphabetical order by the author's, first author's surname. Great. Now, one other feature that I mentioned in the slide is adding page number references, because in APA style, as in many other styles, if you're paraphrasing a certain part of a citation, or if you're quoting from something, you need to provide the page number reference. So what you can do is you can click into the citation, and there's some options here: edit and manage citations. So and this opens up a nice window. And this is a nice window because it shows you all of the citations currently in your document, which is quite handy. And there are some, other options. You can remove it, edit the library reference. Actually, I might have a better demo for that in a second. So let me focus here. I'm adding page number references. So let's say this is a quotation or something, or a paraphrase from page 25. You can just add that in and it will add that. Notice I didn't have to type p.25. It just knows how it's done in APA style, so it will automatically do that. Here's the other thing I wanted to emphasize. Let me insert another citation that I saw earlier. So sometimes, and this is something I should have emphasized more, sometimes the data that you bring in from these databases is not quite right. There's always going to be little errors. So you always need to actually read the citations before you actually present them in your paper. And here's a good example. Let me insert this one here. Now, just because I know the author, I can see that this is not correct. This can't be correct. The surname cannot be Y Wong. That doesn't seem right to me. So this is what this menu is also very useful for. You can go in and edit the library reference like directly from there. It actually prompts you to go back to EndNote. Let me make sure I save that. And so it will go to this article and you can try and figure out what's wrong. Like, that's not the right surname, right? And if I look at the PDF for this one, I can see that the name is Gabrielle Gawai Wong. But for some reason, the metadata from the database is incorrect. So we know, this is a Hong Kong name. I know that the surname is Wong, not Y Wong. So in this case, I can go back to edit and just, edit this myself. So the correct version should be Wong GKW. And I can fix that from within my library. So just, be sure that you're aware of these issues. Oh, but I need to update these now. Yeah, and you can see when I clicked update there, it fixed the citation in both the in-text citation and in the bibliography. That's great. When you notice the mistakes, you don't have to, fix them in all the places they appear in your assignment or essay. You can go to your EndNote library, fix it there, and it will globally update your entire document. So hopefully you can see how if you use EndNote right from the beginning, as you write up your assignment, it can save you a lot of time and effort when it comes to your citations. Okay, I'm right on time because I now have 5 minutes for questions. Are there any questions? Are you all excited about EndNote? Yes? No? Sarah, you're excited, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Eva, great question. Will we be able to watch your presentation again? Yes, we've recorded it and we'll need to do a little bit of editing, chop the beginning off, and we'll upload it to the library's YouTube channel. So like and subscribe, HKBU Library on YouTube. Next text question. May I know how EndNote is different from Mendeley and Zotero? Great question. So Mendeley was the solution that we used to support for reference managers. And we do still support Mendeley. We do still have an institutional subscription to Mendeley. So if you are a Mendeley user, you still enjoy those benefits. I would say the key difference for me for Mendeley and EndNote is that Mendeley is more cloud-based. They don't focus so much on the desktop app. But they more or less try and do the same thing. You know, they're both reference managers. Mendeley is also much more focused on sharing and sharing annotations, sharing references with other people. Zotero is much more like EndNote. I mean, the biggest difference between Zotero and EndNote is that Zotero is free. Zotero is not officially supported by the library, but if you have questions about Zotero, well, we can try and answer them. But yeah, our key supported reference manager is EndNote, and to a lesser extent, Mendeley. Oh, someone wants to ask a verbal question, which is great. Usually we don't get those, which is why I've disabled unmuting. So sorry, I'm not sure which of those names I should say, but Win, I think, please go ahead. I've just enabled, hang on. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, hello, thank you. Yeah, I have a question. Because I have a problem with the installing EndNote in my department computer. So I want to ask to the library directly according to your presentation, right?
Yeah.
So do I need to make some appointment to come or can come directly?
I would say if is it on your staff PC?
Yes.
Yeah, you may need to talk. Have you spoken to your departmental IT person? Because you may need some additional permissions to install software on your machine. Yeah, so maybe ask them first.
Yeah, I haven't asked any technician yet, so
Okay, ask the technician first. If they have questions or if they're not sure, then by all means come to the library and we can liaise with them to get it set up on your workstation. Great.
Yeah, and I have some questions, but I think I better ask at the library because of the time limitation. So do I need to make an appointment or can I come directly?
I would encourage you to make an appointment so that we can be sure that there's someone with EndNote knowledge available to answer your question, especially if they're more complicated questions.
Yeah, so which email do I need to send?
Great question. Let me share my screen again. And if you go to the library website, I would say you can either go to Ask a Librarian, our Ask a Librarian page, which is here, the big button here. You can email us there via this online inquiry form. Or if you think you have enough questions that it will take maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes, you can also reserve a consultation. And you can just put here, oh, you know, I need some help with getting set up with EndNote. Yeah, so we usually will respond within a couple of days. Great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Great. Thank you for your interest. A lot of people saying that it's a little bit small. Yes, I was afraid of that because I have a very big screen. Yeah, but sorry, I had to go full screen because EndNote has a lot of pop-up windows and I did some testing and unfortunately they're not, Zoom does not capture those pop-up windows. So apologies for that. Eva, I'm sure we can organize or set it up so that we email everyone who attended when the presentation is available on the YouTube channel. Let me make a note of that because we have all of your email addresses. Great. I think that's all the questions unless I missed one. Oh, I recall someone was having some technical issues just getting it installed. If that was on your laptop, it would be great if you could bring your laptop in. We can see if there's anything wrong there, if it's in your office. I mean, contact your IT technicians first, but we're happy to do office calls as well. But rest assured, we'll be able to get it working for you. And with that, I will end. Oh, someone's asking if there was a question. Yeah, I think you may have missed the question because we did ask the question about 40 minutes in. So I'm afraid if you missed the question, you may have missed out on your CCL credit. Sorry about that. That's why we do the poll though, to make sure y'all are here. So with that, I will say good afternoon. Thank you again, and stay dry, you know, with the typhoon coming. Bye-bye.